So what is our new normal going to look like? Well, the short answer is we expect that things will be a bit different than before, but not massively different. We've said throughout the pandemic, our working assumption is that eventually, when COVID restrictions are behind us, we'll return to spending the bulk of our time together in the office. We'll definitely have more flexibility. So we now have the tech in place to make many things possible that weren't possible before. Particularly for developers, they were previously working on desktop workstations on a closed network. It wasn't physically possible to work away from your desk. So we're going to retain the tech model that we've moved to during COVID, so it is physically possible to work anywhere. And that means all sorts of things can happen. So you might need to stay at home to receive a delivery, or have a plumber come and fix your boiler, or look after a sick child at short notice. Even before COVID, some teams already had more flexibility due to the way they work. So some tech support people shift their days to give us more hours of coverage. Journalists sometimes work around interviews with people in other time zones. The key thing is that whatever people do has to work for their team and for other people that they collaborate with. So hopefully it goes without saying that PortSwigger is a high trust organization. We judge people by what they deliver. We don't sit looking over your shoulder to check that you're busy. And that principle hasn't changed a bit throughout the long period of remote working. So why is our plan to return to spending the bulk of our time together in the office? So we see several benefits. The first is around creativity and collaboration. Face-to-face conversations are just better than virtual ones. There's higher bandwidth, there's all the non-verbal communication that helps us understand each other, there are no laggy connections. Being together leads to spontaneous encounters, overheard chat that turns into something, all the cross-team contact that happens so naturally around the office. The second benefit is around belonging and team bonding. Lockdown has definitely proved that you can take an existing well-functioning team and you can make it work virtually for a while. You're basically running on the existing social capital that was accumulated during all the time that the team spent together. It's much harder to bring in new people, to form new teams, or even to sustain that existing team bonding indefinitely. There are so many things that we've found difficult during remote working, and we keep finding ourselves saying, this problem will be so much easier when we're back together. The third benefit is around well-being and work-life balance. So we obviously believe in having a healthy balance between work and the rest of our lives. We aren't a sweatshop. We discourage working long hours. We think it's better for our people and for PortSwigger if we leave work and unwind and do something else for several hours every day. For some people, home working has a paradoxical relationship to their well-being. At the start of lockdown, many people thought, wow, working from home, this is great. Over time, many people have realized it's sometimes more like living at work. When you work in the same place as you live, it's harder to have a clear separation. Some people find it harder to focus on work. Some people find it harder to unfocus when they stop work. When 5 p.m. really just means walking away from your laptop, it's harder for your brain to switch off. Many people have realized that the commuting time they thought was wasted was actually beneficial. It's the time when you decompress and your brain transitions between work and non-work mode. Some organizations are currently considering a hybrid approach where people come into the office 2 or 3 days a week and stay at home for the rest. So would that be the best of both worlds? Well, not necessarily. It might be more like we'll just take a partial hit on creativity, collaboration, belonging. We'll keep half the benefits of being together, but we'll lose the other half. So to be completely candid, we aren't really tempted by those kinds of hybrid models. Now, from what some people have told us, the bigger issue for them is actually changing their routine rather than the routine itself. Some people really didn't want to leave the office, and we had to pretty much force them out. We had to give a lot of support in making the transition to home working. Some of those same people have settled into a new routine, and they're now perfectly happy with it. Other people have told us they might have some logistical issues with changing back. They've ended up living elsewhere for a while, or their car no longer works. I know of one person who now only has 2 items of clothing, which they are alternating between. Don't worry, Paul, your secret is safe with me.
I'm wearing a new one today.
We'll of course be supportive of anyone who finds the return to normality challenging, just as we support our people with anything else. So if you do anticipate any challenges for you personally, please let us know, and we'll do everything we can to help. In the first instance, you can speak to your team leader to discuss anything at all that you might be worried about.